Hi guys, the episode that you're just about to listen to is generously sponsored by our affiliates Board Game Crate. Board Game Crate provide a monthly subscription service where they get fresh new games delivered straight to your door. Just head over to www.boardgamecrate.co.uk, and furthermore, if you use our discount code UnluckyFrogIsAwesome, all lowercase, all one word, you'll get a cheeky little discount. It's easy to remember because it's true. Hello and welcome to the Unlucky Frog Gaming Podcast. You are joined by your usual hosts, Sir Josh Hartley, Ben Porter, and we've got Tom Mannering in the studio.
Hello.
With us today.
El Trione.
Yes,
Yeah.
the three amigos.
It's a triumvirate.
How are we all doing, folks?
Doing good. I'm doing good.
Looking forward to Easter. I mean, it will be Easter by the time this goes out.
It'll be Easter Sunday.
As of recording,
I'll be in
Easter.
a chocolate-induced coma.
I'll have my new Fire Slayer stuff. Yes!
We are excited about very different things at Easter.
Yeah.
Evidently.
Well, Fire Slayers, to be fair, don't appear every Easter. It's just that this is a particularly good Easter.
For Fire Slayers.
And Fire Slayer players.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Of which I one.
A special release Fire Slayer. It's got like bunny ears as well.
That'd be amazing.
Missed opportunities, Games Workshop.
Yeah, it kind of takes the intimidating fire dwarf thing away from them, doesn't it?
I'd be fairly scared of a half naked burly dude with
do you
rabbit
know,
ears.
Because I was finishing off painting one of my Hearthguard units last night, and I was looking at the Fire Slayer, and I'd compared them to the size of like one of my Hellstorm rocket battery crew. It's just like a normal human dude.
Yeah, and they're meant to be between 5.5 and 6 foot, right?
Yeah, like an average sized man, right? And then the Fire Slayer, like without his crest, comes up to his shoulder. It's like, if you take the scale of that, like, Fire Slayers are massive.
Is he wearing platforms?
No, that's the thing. They don't wear shoes at all. They're just massive.
Just big dudes.
Big and bulky.
And I'd said to Charlotte, like, they'd actually be quite intimidating if you encountered them. And then Charlotte quite rightly pointed out anything from Warhammer would be quite intimidating.
Yeah. This is true.
And I said, well, not the engineer crew guy, because he's wearing like a leather coif and he's just got his hands clamped over his head, screaming. So.
It's not the engineer that you need to worry about when you come across them. It's the big war machine stood in front of them. Yeah, but I've been doing a bit of I've undercoated some of my Fire Slayers for the Warhammer Underworlds warband.
Yeah, the Chosen Axis.
Yeah, I had a bit of a disaster with it though.
Okay, tell.
Right, so basically I was undercoating a few miniatures and I was going to undercoat them all brown, right? Because the paints I was going to use...
Sure, like sort of warmer colours. So.
Yeah, well, particularly with the Fire Slayers, because most of it's flesh tone, right? And
Summer catalogue.
Yeah. The spray had blocked up, right? It came out all at once, right? And then stopped altogether. So, not checking the miniatures, I go to myself, right? Something's blocked up. I wonder what it is. Turn the can around to look at the nozzle, and then whatever was blocking that became unblocked in my face.
You okay there, Tom? You okay there, buddy?
Okay. That's unfortunate.
Yes, it is.
I hate when that happens.
So your face gets sprayed
Yeah,
on.
right, now,
Your face was splurged on.
yeah, now, fortunately for me,
Yep.
no paint. It was just the propellant. Now, that bloody stings if you get that in your eyes.
Yep.
Right? But as another consequence of this, when the paint had gone all over the miniatures, it was really thick like there were no facial features at all.
But all your miniatures look like Guillermo del Toro monsters.
There was a Space Marine captain without his helmet on. He had no eyes or mouth and only a little bit of a nose. It was genuinely quite freaky.
Yeah.
So, this week I've had my first crack at stripping paint off miniatures.
How did that go?
So, it's actually gone well.
Good.
So, if you ever find yourselves in this predicament, what I used was undiluted Dettol that you'd put in a bucket for mopping, right? Leave it overnight, and then the following day just ran it under a tap with a toothbrush, and most of it just slid off.
Nice.
So
yeah,
a happy ending.
So that's been my week.
Yeah, good.
Yeah,
we've played quite a bit of Kill Team this week as well, actually.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Because I played against BM on Friday night of last week. And that was Imperial Guard versus my Space
Now,
Marines.
I actually happened to bump into BM in town yesterday.
Yeah.
There's an empty shell of a person following your match on Friday.
Yeah, it was a bit of a slaughter.
Yeah.
It was pretty much just Evers shanking guardsmen. It's one of the problems with Imperial Guard, right? Is once you can close with them,
they're quite squishy,
and you happen to be bigger than them. It is pretty much
it's one-sided,
a slaughter, isn't it?
Yeah.
And on the Saturday, I had a game against each of you.
You did.
Yeah.
We all played against each other.
Yeah. The game against you was quite a bit closer. You were using your guard as well, though.
Yep.
And I think when you're playing a faction like Imperial Guard, you need to expect to lose a few.
Yeah, definitely.
And I think actually you can afford
acceptable casualties.
Yeah,
I think is the term.
Yeah, which is quite fluffy as
Yeah.
well.
I was going to
isn't
say that's in keeping with the Imperium, isn't it?
Definitely,
yeah. Whereas the likes of my Space Marines or Josh's Death Guard, if you lose one of them quite early on, that can be quite devastating.
See what your guys' heavy bolt pistols were brutal.
Yeah.
Like my close combat guy, the psychopath with the massive axe, before he gets a swing in, just shot in the face. Horrible.
Yeah.
What a way to go.
They're nasty. Yeah. I'd better look against Josh though. So small mercies.
Oh god, the melter guns just destroyed me.
Josh underestimated the close proximity of a melter gun.
To be fair, like the guy was a better shot than I thought he was.
Crack shot.
Yeah.
I might have rolled quite well, but
But at the same time, it's like with melter guns, do you not get quite a number of shots?
No, you only get the one shot.
Oh no, it translates to a lot of damage.
It does, yeah. It's if you hit,
But
you're within
you
6
get
inches,
2 damage rolls, don't you?
You get 2 damage rolls and take the highest, so it can be
nasty.
1 hit is brutal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I knew this about melter guns, so the way I got around it is just avoid.
Just stay out of.
Well, you can get close to them, but if they can't see you, they can't shoot you, right?
Yeah.
So and that but to be fair, that's one of the things that my warband does a bit better is just map traversal with the grapnel launchers.
You have a lot of upwards and downwards mobility.
Yeah.
With your grapnel launchers, which you unfortunately don't have with the Death Guard. You're a bit more
I don't
clunky.
have much mobility at all.
Yeah. Well, one of the things I was doing when I was playing against you in particular is I would move my Reaver either directly below or directly above the Guardsman, and it's a guaranteed charge next turn because he just drops down or just jumps up.
Yeah.
It gives you a great sort of cinematic moment as well of him just swinging in.
Yeah.
Cinematic demise of a Guardsman.
Fluff wise, the Reavers are terror troops, aren't they?
They are, yeah. They have that rule, don't they? Give you penalty to your leadership as well.
They're basically the SAS of the Space Marines. It's shock and awe.
Yep, exactly. And we used Josh's new terrain as well for the 3 games.
Yeah, I'm really chuffed with how the terrain looks. Finally got it all painted up. The most fiddly thing about it was getting all the 400 magnets.
Love those magnets.
It's a lot of magnets, man. Yeah. It was worth it though, because it's completely modular. So I can. We actually changed the configuration of the terrain a couple of times.
We did. We had 3 different layouts for the 3 games.
Yeah, it meant that they all felt quite different because when you and I played our game, Tom, it was more like an oil rig. There was a lot of verticality in it. But then when I played the next game against Josh, it felt a bit more like a military compound.
That's how I was. It was what I was going for.
More
anyway.
symmetrical. And I think there was only one tower in that.
Yeah.
But then we had like 2 catwalks either side. So it's a really neat set. It's the Troll Trader Combat.
TT Combat. It's the Industrial Hive 1 pack, and it was just shy of £45. Granted, I spent £20 on neodymium magnets, but that is entirely optional.
Yeah.
I think I think for what you pay for, it's pretty good value.
I'd say so.
I'm definitely planning on getting more stuff from them. But my next terrain painting I'm doing is I picked up some GW stuff while we were there for the store birthday as well.
Yeah, all 3 of us went down and we all spent a substantial amount.
Let's not disclose figures.
Big monies, no whammies.
Yeah, I mean, like I pre-ordered all the new Fire Slayer stuff, which I was always planning to do, but I went a bit extravagant, and I got the collector's edition Battle Tome.
Ooh.
The only difference is you get a fancy cover and a bookmark in it.
But that's all the difference you need.
Oh, that's it. Yeah, it's the disgusting display of wealth whenever you go to play a game. Yeah,
opulence.
Yes.
Hello, peasants.
I was just going to say, bow before me, peasant.
Yeah. And I got the new... They call them magmic invocations. They're basically endless spells, right?
I'm glad that you're admitting that basically you're doing magic now.
That's
the way it goes.
Yeah.
Got to grow up sometime.
If you can't beat them, join them, right?
Exactly.
No.
Yeah. I've got the scenery piece as well.
Oh, the
Forge.
Forge.
The Forge looks awesome. It's been nicknamed the Pizza Oven on the forums.
Sure.
Oh, please, someone do a conversion job.
It doesn't need much of a conversion. It straight up looks like a dwarven.
Oh, you could
pizza
get the
oven.
halfling cook models.
You could, yeah.
It's
me. Welcome to the Warhammer world.
There's the old Craggy model from the Anvil of Doom, where he's got the forceps. You could probably stick a pizza on that. You know?
It'd probably quite easy to make a pizza out of green stuff.
Yeah.
As well, right? Just make a little disc and.
Yeah. I've got this weird idea for a conversion of 2 halfling minis done in like Mario and Luigi styles as well.
Yeah.
Just to really set that up as a nice little display.
Yeah.
Not that they're pizza makers, just because they're Italian, I think.
Wow, just straight up racial profiling.
It's not racial profiling. Wow. They're Italian. Pizza is Italian, isn't it?
I think it's more Italian American, is it?
Yeah.
Not?
No, it's Italian.
It is Italian, but do you know? I don't know where I'm going with this.
We're getting off topic.
I don't know either.
I don't know why I'm having an argument as to it's definitely Italian American.
You take that back.
All our Italian listeners are deeply offended now.
Well, guys in Italy, or Italians living elsewhere, I'm really sorry.
Implying that they can't live outside Italy there as well.
Wow.
Whew.
Wow.
Oh, Josh.
Sorry,
listeners.
Shall we do the news?
I think
Let's
we should.
do the news.
Quickly.
Yeah, move on.
Before more of Josh's racism comes out in the wash.
This started with your racism.
No, I don't recall that at all. Can't believe you did the accent as well, Josh.
Right, first item of news. Cool Mini or Not have done quite a few video game adaptations for the tabletop. And another one is imminent. They're going to be doing a God of War card game.
Okay.
Card game.
Card game, specifically.
No minis.
No minis.
All right.
Kind of step away from Cool Mini or Not, isn't it, when you're
well,
making a card game?
I've often quipped like the best games that Cool Mini or Not tend to come out with don't involve
miniatures.
Don't involve miniatures.
That's fair.
Rising Sun.
It's possibly the exception that proves the rule. I haven't played it.
That being said, you can play Rising Sun without miniatures.
Yeah, you can probably play most miniatures games without miniatures though. We've had this chat before, right? The 40k player with like the post-it notes and like that sort of awfulness.
But I hear what you're saying, that generally speaking, the best games that Cool Mini or Not do don't involve miniatures.
So do we know if this is classic God of War or new God of War?
It's the new one because it's
Right,
Kratos on the front with his son.
Yeah, his son, who's I can't remember his name. I in my head
You
he's
just
called
always call
Atreyu,
him
but
boy.
I don't think he's called Atreyu. That's the kid from Neverending Story.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Is
he calls him
is
like boy
is-
and
yeah.
So
Is
it's-
it this kid from Neverending Story?
Atreyu is.
No, but like, are those universes linked somehow?
I mean, that would be cool.
Yeah.
God of War meets Neverending Story. I'd play that.
Oh, what's the name of the big dog that flies?
Falco.
Yeah.
Falco.
Yes.
Yeah, that section where you fight Falco.
That'd be cool.
That'd be horrifying. Just Kratos chopping up Falcon.
Just giving that kind of merry laugh.
Just slicing everyone's
all the
childhood to ribbons.
real time, quick time events as well.
Yeah.
Just
Let's not go down that road.
right.
So, I mean, I'm not a massive God of War fan. Never really played the games.
I liked the original couple. I played God of War 1 and God of War 2. Kind of disappeared off it after that. I've seen bits of the new one. It looks beautiful.
Card game seems like a bit of an odd
I suppose
adaptation for a game that is all about
yeah,
like hack and slash violence.
it would have lent itself really well to a skirmish game.
Well, this is
you
why
know,
I'm kind of surprised that it's not a miniatures game, right?
Yeah.
Or an arena combat
Arena
games.
combat, yeah, exactly.
something like that. Yeah,
or even
MOBA
sort of
style.
what you call it, Warhammer Quest style thing, you know, where you're kind of adventuring through
Yeah,
a
sure.
dungeon type
Yeah.
thing with Kratos and his son or whatever.
Yeah, a bit of an odd choice, especially since it's Cool Mini or Not, right?
Yeah.
There's loads of big
It's kind-
monsters in the God of War
Kind,
universe.
kind of their thing.
Yeah.
Like,
Maybe this is a precursor. Maybe they're testing the water, seeing
Yeah.
how big, sort of how popular it is.
Well,
and-
yeah.
Evidently, they've got the license right, so
Yeah.
I mean, who knows? They'll go with it, and it seems as though that the video game adaptations for the tabletop are quite popular at the moment. So
Never a bad thing.
They're kickstarting this.
it says it will launch later. There's no mention of Kickstarter, and to be fair, generally speaking, Cool Mini or Not tend only to kickstart the games with miniatures.
All right. Fair.
Gizmos and Wacky Races got miniatures in other games.
Mhm.
But yeah, the games that don't involve lots of miniatures don't go to Kickstarter for
Okay.
Cool Mini or Not. So, Lord of the Rings: Journeys in Middle Earth is out this week. That it's a new title from Fantasy Flight. They've got a long history with the Middle Earth license. They've the living card game, and they've done a number of board games over the years as well. It looks as though this is a sort of reimagining of the Mansions of Madness formula, where it's essentially a dungeon crawl. It's a cooperative game, but the real interesting component is the fact that all the AI is resolved using an app. I think
Which the previous, like the most recent, edition of Mansion of Madness does.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think there's ways to resolve the AI with cards,
Okay.
because obviously sometimes apps are a bit behind, that sort of thing. Not 100% on that, but that's the big selling point here. And I guess for me the appeal there is that if you're using a computer to resolve AI, it is going to be capable of far more than a deck of cards ever could.
Without
right?
a doubt. Without a doubt. I think that there's some. I'm trying to think of a better word than puritanical, but there are. I'm just going to go with it. There are some puritanical people in the tabletop community who just spoke at the idea of involving technology in this sort of stuff.
Yeah.
I don't have a problem with it. If it improves the overall experience, then why wouldn't you?
There's this mistaken perception that technology brings like carte blanche obsolescence with it, and it's just not the case, right? Because
Our whole hobby is a testament to that.
yeah, well, but in particular, we spoke about wargaming earlier,
Yeah.
right? So with the advent of real-time strategy games, there's probably a period in fairly recent history where folk thought that the PC was going to wipe the floor with games like Warhammer and Trafalgar, all those kind of systems, but they still exist because the fact of the matter is that they appeal to very different sensibilities.
Yeah.
Within the human psyche from video games. They're more tactile for one. They're a lot more creative for another. There's as much as a computer is capable of a lot more in terms of artificial intelligence. At the same time, there's a rigidity that comes with computer games that you don't have with tabletop.
Yeah.
If you don't like a rule, don't like something about the game, just change it there and then.
Aye.
If there's something you don't like about a video game, you're having to petition developers, and you might never get anywhere, or you have to engineer a patch or a mod yourself.
The interesting thing about that as well is if you look at sort of the real-time strategy games, they've actually adopted the licenses of the tabletop games that they coexist alongside. So you've got like the Warhammer series,
Warhammer Total War,
a lot of the 40k when they did the Dawn of War series as
that's
well.
right,
so the two can coexist, and I think
so.
I think this is another example of that. And I think apps add an extra level where the developer can release bonus content a lot quicker without you having to go to a store and buy a brick and mortar expansion pack. You know, they can, as you say, they can address bugs quicker. They can respond to feedback quicker. There's a lot of sort of corrections that can be made quicker as a result of that, without you having to go out and buy an editor pack and things like that.
Yeah, that's it. Well, we're going to talk a little bit more about AI in games later on in the episode, because I think we've got quite a lot to say on that. So we'll rattle through some more of the news, and then we'll get on that. So Journeys in Middle Earth, that's out. Looks interesting. Hoping to get that to the table at some point. I think it is a bit pricey. It's up beyond the £50 mark, which is a bit...
It's Fantasy Flight. You pay for quality, don't you?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
So another pop culture adaptation, Hellboy board game by Mantic, is now out in retail.
Okay.
That was on Kikstarter last year.
With a gazillion...
Oh, yeah.
A gazillion miniatures in it.
Oh, yeah.
Does look nice.
And this adaptation is quite faithful to the comics.
Okay.
Like the sculpts just look like 3D versions of the comic book characters, which is nice because the Hellboy comics always had a very distinct
stylistic flair to them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's nice to see that they've been faithful to that.
That's good.
Again, hefty price tag with this one.
Let's hear it.
Go on.
What's the damage?
I stand corrected with Journeys in Middle Earth. It is an RRP of £90.
What?
Hellboy has
coming in much lower.
much more modest price tag of £75.
Whew.
So
I mean, it's an investment, but
yeah,
but that box art is nice. To be fair,
it does look nice. But so for me, the problem I have with the direction a lot of the pricing in the industry is I could spend £90 on a Lord of the Rings game, or I could buy £90 worth of miniatures that I'm going to spend a long time painting and will use in various games over and over.
I think they could. You run the risk of pricing people out with that.
I think that there's a danger that the industry's tending towards that.
Yeah,
a bit too much at the moment.
I don't know. There's always like affordable games, right? A lot of the card games are cheaper.
There is.
Magic the Gathering's pretty much as cheap or as expensive as you want. Although let's face it, if you get into it,
when you started that, I was like, "Where's he going with this?"
No, but like in theory, you could just draft it once a month, and it won't cost you an arm and a leg.
Well, it's the same with the Games Workshop games, right? I mean, especially now, because you could argue that £30 gets you a kill team.
Yeah,
I wouldn't even say you need to argue that. I can tell you factually.
Yeah. No, but I suppose some people say that you need dice.
Yeah, that's true. Things, I suppose there's the additions.
Yeah, but there is an argument that to get involved in a Games Workshop game, it's a £30 investment now.
The trick is to have a friend who foolishly buys it all and then just play with them.
Yeah.
Hi, Tom.
Or be that friend in addition to having those friends, which is like that's us.
Yeah, actually, that's me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh well.
So, last new release to discuss for this week is Rise and Fall of Anvalor, which is a new Games Workshop licensed game. It's set in the Age of Sigmar universe.
Okay.
And it is a semi-cooperative game where each player takes control of a faction within one of the free cities.
Okay.
You have to protect the city from outside threats, but you're trying to climb up the ladder a bit at the same time.
Okay, so there's a little bit of cooperation to make things happen, and a little bit of backstabbery.
Yeah, so it could be interesting, but I'm a little bit scared.
Who's making it?
WizKids.
I just know that WizKids did the licensed Magic the Gathering games, and they're not good.
Yeah,
but we'll see.
That being said, I was going to say Games Workshop have a level of creative control, but they tend to let people run.
Yeah, with the
rampant
license
with
stuff.
these
So
stuff.
yeah, go ahead.
Which is fine when it's Fantasy Flight doing your thing.
Yeah.
And we did play Doomseeker recently, and it's not WizKids, but it is bad.
It's not good.
Okay.
And which I'm gutted about, because
You wanted it to
that
be
should
good.
be my thing, right?
Should be your jam.
Yeah.
So what's next?
So next is Modiphius this week have launched a Kikstarter for a Dungeons and Dragons 5th ed supplement called Odyssey of the Dragonlords.
Okay.
Ooh.
It is a sort of Greek mythology type supplement, so it's like Cerberus, satyrs, and of course dragons all feature. Cyclops. It actually, I think I said to you earlier, it's actually really underpinning to me just how much Greek mythology has informed
All fantasy.
yeah,
Like,
right.
everything right. Yeah.
So it's nice that it's come full circle in a way, right? I mean,
has.
I know people have had a go at ancient Greek stuff before, but this looks very polished.
It looks pretty stunning.
It's got some pretty hefty names behind it as well.
It does. It's a triumvirate of ex BioWare dudes. So it's James Olin, Jesse Sky, and Drew Karpyshyn.
Carpathian?
I do apologise for butchering your name if you're listening, Drew. But I think this is one that we're going to try and have a look at some point.
There's no try. We're looking at
Yeah.
this.
Yeah.
So we're going to have a wee chat with Modiphius. Might
The
even,
artwork looks fantastic as well.
might even back it, to be honest. But it's these guys are ex BioWare staff, but just to emphasise like how big a deal they are, they've worked on Baldur's Gate, Dragon Age Origins, Knights of the Old Republic. It's like it's not just veterans, but they've worked on some of the most acclaimed
Iconic
titles.
role-playing games.
Yeah.
That's basically my teenage years.
Yeah.
In 3 titles.
Yeah,
So this should and looks as if it's going
it
to be
looks
very
stunning. All very stylized, like it's the sort of Greek mosaic borders on all the pages. It's got some rules for like campaign settings.
Safe to say, guys, has it met its funding goal already?
Within 24 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it has not grossed as much money as the next item we're about to talk
Oh,
about.
good lord.
But
Yeah,
it's,
we are.
it's made a good amount, and maybe stay tuned. I think we're probably going to do a wee bit of coverage on Odyssey of the Dragonlords, because it's one we're all quite excited about. So watch this space.
So, along the same lines of Kickstarter then, who else has been starting kicks?
Do you want to do this one?
I do.
Yeah.
I really do.
Yeah.
Okay.
So today is the last day of the Legend of Vox Machina Kickstarter.
As of recording,
As
As
this
of recording on Thursday, and it has now grossed in excess of $10 million.
Wow.
Which is a lot
That's
of
an
money.
obscene amount of money.
It is. It is awesome. So
Where does that put it in terms of top Kickstarters?
I don't know where it sits exactly, but it is the highest funded Kickstarter for a media, TV or film project, beating Mystery Science Theater 3000, which was the last top spot on that. It's sitting well in the top 10 highest funded Kickstarters. I think at my last sort of check, it was sitting around 5 or 6-ish.
Well, we were saying, like, because a few people are surprised that it's not the highest grossing ever, but everyone forgets that there's a lot of tech on Kickstarter.
Yeah.
Yep, tech really climbs up there.
Yeah.
Yeah, when your minimum pledge is in the thousands, then that kind of inflates the figure.
But it's awesome. It means we're getting a full series. I've backed this, so hence my enthusiasm.
Yeah.
We're getting a full series of Vox Machina, including 2 episodes of a completely unaired storyline. The first sort of major arc of the Vox Machina campaign, the Briarwood arc. There's loads of stretch goals that have been met as well. They've added a secret stretch goal for the 10 million, which is that one of the cast who is notoriously jumpy is going to do a haunted house, which sounds really minor, but this guy's a 6'4" built tank, so to see him shrieking his way through a haunted house is going to be quite amusing for fans. So that should be launching out sometime next year, I believe, is the release date. And there's loads of swag, which you guys will get to see firsthand because I'll have it.
Yes.
Yay!
I'm not anywhere near as invested in the Vox Machina thing as you are, Tom, but it's been quite interesting to observe how this has evolved from an actual play stream to a full-blown IP in its own right.
Definitely.
With merchandise and all of that carry on.
Oh yeah, it's like crazy how many people are into the.
I'm a little bit scared of critters, as they call themselves.
I actually had an experience. I was walking home from work yesterday and actually saw a guy wearing a Critical Role t-shirt. And like outside of my immediate circle, I've not really.
Did you wink at him?
Come across anyone? Well, he was on the phone, but I was that close to being like, "Nice t-shirt," and then I was like, "You're just going to look a bit weird." And I was like, "He'd probably be on board with that. It's fine."
I'd be all right with someone complimenting my t-shirt.
Maybe some people can take things weird, but it is a very expansive community, as it turns out. I mean, they floored the convention that they attended in London, where they just completely underestimated how big a presence would be there, and apparently it was a bit of a how do I put this politely?
Logistical nightmare.
That's a good way to put it. Yeah, a couple of people I know that were there said that you couldn't really get near it because of how many people had turned up, and the convention just hadn't anticipated. So excited about that. I'll be quiet about it now for the next year, guys. I'll give you a bit of
Hey.
So last news item is the Mensa Select winners for 2019 have been announced.
Yes, Mensa Select is the awards that are dished out annually by the American Mensa Society. They have a weekend event where they get 300 of their members to come play some games, and they'll all vote on what their favourites were that were released in the past year.
Okay.
So without further ado, we have 5 who have won the Select award. Gizmos by Cool Mini or Not. We've got Gun Kimono from Renegade Studios. Planet from Blue Orange Games. Victorian Masterminds from Cool Mini or Not. And Architects of the West Kingdom from Renegade Game Studios.
So, a couple of things to note. 2 Cool Mini or Not games. I was trying to find whether the publishers have to nominate these games.
Well, it's 2 Cool Mini or Not games and 2 Renegade Game Studios games.
So I was trying to find if the publishers nominate. I don't think that's the case, though. I think they basically just go through the year's releases and just have a smorgasbord of them.
Well, what's funny about this award is where Spiel des Jahres has a bent towards the German games industry. This has a very definite bent towards the American.
I mean, it would appear that way, doesn't it?
Yeah. Because considering it's Mensa, you're thinking that it's going to be all about strategy, right? And so it would stand to reason that a lot of the German games, which are quite thinky, would probably appeal there. It makes me think that you have to nominate yourself for this.
Well, when I was reading through the process on what they judge this on, right, so there are actually a couple of criteria, aesthetics being one of them, which, if you know my opinion on a lot of German games, would put them right out of it. Sorry, it's true.
Shots fired.
Yeah, it's true. I'm not saying that they all look trash, but
you're right in that there's a definite trend with German games towards like bold primary colours and like very sort of Beano-esque type
No, I get you.
aesthetics.
Yeah.
So I'm just reading through it. Games are judged on aesthetics, instructions, originality, play appeal, and play value.
Okay, so the whole judging brief is completely different to Spiel des Jahres.
Also, Spiel des Jahres is quite a small panel. This panel is 300 people.
Yeah.
So that's a bigger pool, but not as big as, like, obviously we had the Golden Geeks.
Yeah. And the Spiel des Jahres panel, quite frankly, are a wee bit uppity about the games that are submitted. Like, for instance, if they're not happy with the standard of the German translations for the instructions, they don't even get considered.
Say that these awards across the board, none of them are as prestigious as our own awards. Really.
Oh, that goes without saying.
I agree.
The level of judgment and consideration that went in on our end really just puts these guys to shame. I think we just need to drive that home.
Yep.
For our listeners.
Yeah, we are the only opinion you can trust, not even your own.
Exactly. Don't listen to Mensa. What have they done lately?
Yeah, exactly.
But,
it's a bunch of nerds solving puzzles, right? Wait, that's us.
Yeah. In terms of the games themselves, so Architects has had a fair bit of buzz about it. Is this the first award that Planet has got in this sort of awards season?
I think it's been nominated for a few, certainly.
Yeah, I really like Planet. Like, I'm glad it's got something. It's a very, really, and like top marks for aesthetics on that game as well, because it looks fantastic. We're playing Gizmos for the first time the other night as well.
Yeah, it was okay.
Yeah, I kind of want to have another go at it. Very flashy, very, like, it looks very nice. Which we've come to expect from Cool Mini or not. I enjoyed it. It didn't blow me away, but
I'm being very quiet because I have not played a single one of these games.
No, the only two I have played are Gizmos and Planet. Architects does look very good, and I've heard a lot of good things about it. Victorian Masterminds and Gun Kimono, I can't really speak for them.
Victorian Masterminds, frankly, wasn't even on my radar, so...
No,
like,
neither was Gun Kimono, if I'm being perfectly honest. But I saw quite a few people playing Architects of the West Kingdom at Aircon. It looks really good. Yeah.
So we're going to talk about AI?
Yeah, I'll talk about AI. I do think that, particularly for cooperative games, AI is a big deal, right?
So, and when we talk about AI, just to be clear, we're not explicitly talking about things that are powered by a computer.
No,
it's very common.
Very literally artificial intelligence, which can be emulated with a deck of cards.
Yep.
Deck of cards is how tabletop
Dice.
games usually do it. Dice as well, yes. Can we off the top of your head, Ben? Can you think of any particularly good or bad examples?
The Dark Souls AI deck serves as both a good and bad example.
We kind of emulated the sort of broken AI of the Dark Souls games.
Yeah, because there was a way in the first in boss encounter in the Dark Souls board game that we were able to sort of wedge the boss in a corner.
And he couldn't figure out how to get out of it.
Yeah.
It was like the board game glitched on us.
We basically found out a chink in his AI deck, and we figured out that if we sort of corralled him into this corner, he would just keep hopping between these two spots, not doing anything, and we could just like stab him in the bum until he died.
Good times. Good times.
And I suppose, although we arguably got lucky in that encounter, the problem with having like a deck driven AI is that if you play that game enough, eventually you're going to learn it, right?
Yeah.
And you can mitigate the randomness to a certain extent as well with careful planning. Whereas if you've got good AI, like for instance in a video game, you can. It's funny because it's a sort of mirror of the argument I made earlier about if there's something you don't like about a tabletop game, you can easily remedy that, but it's a problem with a video game. Conversely, with AI, because it's on a computer, because a computer's making all those calculations, and the algorithms that you can put into a computer for AI are infinitely more complex than anything that you would be able to emulate with a deck. You would have to have a humongous, really complex deck of cards to get anywhere near what a computer is capable of creating.
Definitely.
Right? And for me, one of the greatest recent examples of enemy AI in a video game is the Shadows of Mordor and Shadows of War series. Where it's like if you keep using a certain tactic against an orc, he starts to learn and responds to it. It's even things like if you kill one of the orcs by fire, he comes back and he can be like branded by it, or he might have even embraced the manner of his death, and he's running about with fire himself. Bit harder to do that.
Very tricky to do that
for a tabletop game, right?
I think some games, legacy games, try to bring an element of that in.
I think so.
Where cards that you gain or whatever will sort of move into the deck, and they can potentially alter the enemy's AI or expand the AI. But as you say, there's a limit on what you can do with a set of dice, a deck of cards, even a book that goes alongside it. Bringing an actual digital component into it, so an app, a program, whatever it is, certainly expands your options.
Do you think there's a drawback to maybe resorting to apps for AI?
I don't think there's a drawback as such. I think you maybe lose a little bit of the literal tangibility of it, of having that deck of cards, with all the different pictures and things, and you can't really pass. I mean, you can pass a phone around, say, if you've got an app on it.
It's not as tactile,
but it's not the same as passing cards and things like that. But I think there's arguments on both sides.
I think the viable concern that a lot of people that are sceptical of the use of apps within tabletop game quite rightly have is that you run the risk of having people buried in their screens rather than interacting with the game.
Well, the other thing that I thought was, I mean, it's all well and good because almost everyone has a smartphone of some description now, but what happens when these smartphones become obsolete by whatever technology is around? I would personally like to be able to play my board games maybe in 50 years' time, and if I can't find a working version of an app that I need, then that board game has just turned into a collection of card.
Yeah, that's a valid point. If you go back now and try and play an old PC game that's not been supported since it was released, you might struggle to get that onto a PC and get it up and running.
Particularly the online ones.
Yeah.
Lots of the servers are dead.
Yeah, they just shut the servers down when they're done, right?
So you are basically entrusting that board game company are going to maintain that server, keep it updated, and keep it updated with operating software. In the long term, you can go and get a copy of Monopoly out from 1970 odd and still play it now, as long as the pieces are all there. You probably won't be able to do that with something you get now in 50 years time. I mean, there's MMOs that don't last more than 5 years with support, and they've got money flowing into them. You're not going to have the money flowing in that's going to justify supporting that 20 years, 50 years down the line.
Yeah,
so it's a valid point.
Yeah, I think that for me is the main drawback. It is cool though, and as you say, you can achieve things with an app that you just could not with a deck of cards, or realistically achieve.
I think the best way to approach it, and the way I would hope board game companies would approach it, is try and get the best of both worlds. So have it so that the app is there, but it is not essential.
Yeah, it enhances, but doesn't detract from the experience. Right?
You can use this, and this will add additional elements, but if you want to play without it, you have everything here to do so. There's potentially other decks that you can use on the app. There's other ways you can play through the app, but your core game is still there, and there's an option to expand.
Yeah.
Best of both worlds.
I think so. I think I've said to you guys before, I'm probably going to write some sort of article about this, because I've got quite a lot of thoughts on it. Because it's you could write books on the subject, couldn't you?
AI is a scary thing for me.
Okay, Grandpa.
God dang it! I don't like I just find it the idea of technology developing more complex thought just.
You think there's a Skynet on the way?
That's a genuine thing, right?
Is it? Is it a genuine thing? I don't think it's fictional.
Do you know what, right? You're laughing now, but see come the day, come Judgment Day.
Come the robot apocalypse. Who'll be laughing then?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, no one.
Well,
So, we're all standing before the robot overlord. Josh just stands up, goes,
no, I'm just there like, just for the record, guys, I was right.
I called this.
Called it.
100%.
Everyone, in their sackcloth and ashes, just turns around and glares at Josh.
Called it, but did nothing.
Yeah. Hey, I warned everyone
on
this podcast.
So
do you yours, rest of the world.
Do you realise the hypocrisy of warning everyone about the robot uprising through digital technology on a digital podcast?
Look. I never said I wasn't a hypocrite.
Anyway,
shall we call it a day?
I think so.
We have to go away and deal with this.
Yeah. So until next time, or the robot apocalypse, guys. You take care. Have fun.
Bye.
Bye.